Hey there, guys. Welcome to my channel. My name is Cerise Fairfax, and this is Diary of a Working Girl. So normally when I do story time, I do it from my point of view, reading the person's story. But now I will do it not in a third person, but as I am the person reading it, just to make it a little bit more special. And not only that, this series will be available to people who want to hear more stories and become a member of my channel and also a member of my Patreon. Some of the stories will get deep. This is just the PG version to keep it friendly for YouTube. But I want to direct you guys over to my Patreon once it's up and running for some more videos that are a little bit more explicit. Alrighty, let's get down to it. So this one is about a Venezuelan woman. My name is Maria, and I can remember when the Venezuelan government changed. It changed for the worse. It was a disaster. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was 19 years old, 2017. My mom was still alive, and so was my older brother. I can remember we were so hungry. We were all praying that things would change, that the government would get turned over into good hands and the people would be taken care of. That didn't happen. What did happen were protests. My brother died, his life was taken. And my mom, shortly after, 3 years later to be exact, she died. She had diabetes and there was no longer any medication to care for her. And without the proper foods and without the proper caretaking, she passed away. I remember. When she passed away in my arms, she looked at me and she said to me, "Please take care of your younger brother." At that moment, I knew, and she knew, that it would be close to impossible. At the time, I was studying to become a lawyer. I wanted to bring change to my country. I would call myself an intellectual. I'm quite smart. I understand politics, spirituality, finances. My mother taught me well. My dad died when I was 7. My whole family was now gone, except for my little brother. He's 3 years younger than me. He was only 16 at the time. And without my help, I knew he would have no future. I prayed to my mom, I prayed to my brother, I prayed to my father, and I asked them, please present me with an opportunity, anything. And then the opportunity came. I was sitting with my friend on the doorstep of a closed cafe, and we were talking about the future, and we were talking about getting out of Venezuela, when another friend walked by, and she was leaving, and she came over to hug us, and she said she was leaving and she was going on a flight. And we asked her, "How are you going on a flight? You mean like the airport? You're leaving Venezuela? How are you doing that?" And she told us about an application that she was on and how she met a man and how he's paying for everything. And she's going to leave the country to marry him and live happily ever after. Now, of course, I was not so naive, but just the thought of leaving Venezuela would be great. And of course, I heard of all the horror stories of a woman leaving and being extorted. So that was a fear for me, for my friend. And I said to her, "Are you sure you know where you're going?" And she said, "Yes. Yes, this will be the address that I'm going to just in case. And this will be the name of the person and also the information. Please come and join me." It was about 2 days later when she did contact us. And it was myself and my 3 friends, all of us shared one cell phone. We liked to go online and just look at the world and also dream. We would watch applications like YouTube, and we would go online and dream about the future. And then she contacted us and said that she's totally fine and she's happy. So she told us how we could also do the same thing. And all three of us did. I was the first one to meet a man. He contacted me and he said, "You are so beautiful. Can you send me pictures of yourself?" And I did. And eventually we were talking for about 3 weeks to a month. And he said to me that he's originally from America, but he's moving to the Dominican Republic. And he'll be starting a restaurant business in the capital with his friends. He asked me to join him. I was happy. I thought, absolutely, I'll join you 100%. How do I do that? I don't have a passport. I have no money for a flight. I barely had any clothes. He told me, don't worry about anything. He said, I will pay for you every single thing you need. So he sent me money to buy some clothes. He sent me money for my plane ticket. And he sent me money for my passport. Everything was prepared. I never took a flight before, ever. I was scared. I was alone. My aunt, she took my younger brother. They knew where I was going. I gave them all the information of the gentleman. He sent me information of his passport. I felt so comfortable with that. I felt like at least that was half of the battle. When I got on the plane, I was so nervous. I thought for sure it was going to crash. I had no clue what to do, where I was going, but it was quite easy. And then I landed in the Dominican Republic. My only fear then was maybe there was a setup. Maybe he wouldn't show up. Maybe he would just leave me there at the airport all alone. Maybe there would be some type of a connection, a ring of some type, evil people that would come and get me. But that didn't happen. I met him, and I saw him down the corridor. I nearly ran into his arms. I was so happy to see him. I looked in his eyes, and I said, "Thank you, thank you." I thought this was going to be the life-changing event that I truly needed. He held me so tight. He was muscular. I was happy with that. Health is very important to me. I love to exercise. I love to work out and look nice. And he matched that sentiment. His shoulders were so muscular, his arms were so beautiful and soft, and his hands were large. He was great. He kissed me right away, and I felt that was the beginning of my future. We got into his rental car. He held my hand, and we drove to his Airbnb. The Dominican Republic was beautiful. I loved it from the moment I stepped off the plane. It was nice to be able to speak to people in another country in Spanish. I felt like magic was happening. We went to his Airbnb, and although he did not speak very much Spanish, we used translators back and forth. When I arrived, he had a cell phone for me. It was topped up. I was able to WhatsApp my friends in Venezuela. I was living a beautiful life. Then we started to have some deep conversations. And I would tell him what my life was like in Venezuela. He wasn't too interested in listening. I asked him what politics were like in America. He had no idea. He only knew who the president was. So I was okay with that. I realized he was not an intellectual. He was actually ignorant. And that was fine, because he was taking care of me, and I would take care of him. I quickly got some books that he paid for on Amazon, and I was studying because I still wanted to become a lawyer. And as I was studying and moving my way around, he helped me do so much in the Dominican Republic. I would study every day. But then things started to change. I didn't ask him for any money. I didn't ask him for anything except food. But then I wanted to work. I needed to work because I had to send money to my brother. And I told him that I need to find a job. And he told me he didn't want me to work. He said, I didn't bring you here to work. I brought you here to take care of me. And I said, I can do that. I can cook and clean, take care of you, wash your clothes, rub your back, massage your feet. I have no problem with that. But I need to get a job. He said, okay, you can work in the restaurant. Restaurant is almost together, and you can work there. And so I did. A month later, the restaurant was together, and I started to work there. And then 2 months after, he had a heart attack and died. I was left alone. One of his business partners told me that I can still work in the restaurant, but I had to give him extra favors. I didn't understand at first what he meant by extra favors. This man spoke perfect Spanish. He was also American. He was a retired vet from the military. And he told me that extra favors simply means that when he wants something in regards to intimacy, I had to give it to him. It started to become too much. I would be working, and when there were no customers, he would come up behind me and grab me by my front woman part, maybe by my breast sometimes below, drag me into the back room. He would kiss me. His breath stunk. It was like he never brushed his teeth. His underarms smelled. He was fat and unhealthy. He drank too much alcohol. He smelled like cigars and alcohol all the time. I didn't like him, but I had to do what I had to do. My brother had no one, and my aunt was taking care of my brother in Venezuela, and she had no money, and she had 2 other children. 4 people in Venezuela were looking out for me, praying for me, and 4 people I had to take care of financially. Of course, I would do whatever I had to do. So whenever he would insert himself in me, I would just think about my family, and I would think things could be worse. Things could be worse. I could be in Venezuela watching the rest of my family members die from starvation. So I thought to myself, this is worth it. One day I was working in the restaurant, and the owner of the building came in with a piece of paper and said he's closing the doors. I said, why? He said, nobody's paying the rent. I told him, but why not? We have customers here all the time. I was the cook. They were barely paying me. Every cent they paid, I paid my rent, and I also sent to my home and my family. I ate at the restaurant, very little because I didn't want to take advantage. People loved my food. I couldn't figure out why the doors were being closed. It was a viable restaurant. Then I asked the owner, what's going on? What is this piece of paper? He told me to mind my business and that he is closing down the restaurant because he doesn't want the responsibility any longer. He said he didn't come to the Dominican Republic to run a business. His partners are never in the Dominican Republic. And ever since my boyfriend died, nobody is helping him. He told me that if I wanted to, I could move in with him. I had nowhere else to go. I knew it would be a dream if he had a second room for me. But not all dreams come true. And yes, I had to sleep with him. He smelled so bad. His bedroom smelled so bad. So the first thing I did was air out his mattress, wash all his clothes. And I told him that he needs to take care of his body. He didn't like that very much. He slapped me and told me to mind my own business because he worked very hard in his country to help his country, and now he's going to live the way he wants. I understood. I think he had post-traumatic stress syndrome. I think he had some type of stress from whatever he experienced in the military. So I thought to myself that I will take care of him if he doesn't take care of himself. I stayed with him for 3 months. And then I couldn't do it any longer. He was mean. All he wanted was intimacy. All he wanted was to eat, get a massage, and intimacy. And I thought to myself, this is not what I am living for. I'm not living for this animal, for this stinky man, for this monster, for this man that gives me nothing except a roof over my head. And I knew that I could leave him and go get my own roof over my head. So I took what little belongings that I did have, my books, my purse, and a knapsack full of clothes, and I walked the streets. It wasn't very long after that I met a couple of women, and it was in a bar, and they asked me, "What am I doing here?" I told them I was from Venezuela, filled them in on my story, and immediately they felt sorry for me. They were Dominican women, and they told me that they were working girls. They told me that if they like, they can help me. And they did. They showed me the ropes of how to become a working girl. And so I did. I met a few men. None of them wanted to commit to me. Once I would ask one man for a little bit more money, just something a little bit more, something that I could send home to my family, the 4 people that rely on me. All I could think about was my brother, my aunt, and her children. And these men were just paying me enough for me to pay my rent, to do my hair so I can look good at least while I'm working, do my nails, and buy clothing. The clothing that working girls wear are not cheap. To get my hair done was not cheap. Nails, not cheap. The men were just horrible. None of them were very dreamy. I can remember watching videos about working girls in America and the lifestyle that they live and the beautiful skyscrapers that they live in. It seemed like they lived a glamorous lifestyle. And the men were businessmen, beautiful businessmen that paid them wonderfully well. This was a nightmare, not a dream. A few times I felt like I wanted to take my own life, but I knew that I couldn't because even just a little bit of money that I could send to my family would be wonderful. I said to this one man that I was dating for 2 months. He relocated from Germany. He took me in. He told me I didn't need to work any longer. We were loving each other. I thought for a moment that I had another man that was going to help me, take care of me, understand that I needed to make money for my family. But when I asked him for just a little bit more money, he said no. He said to me, point blank, "Your family is not my responsibility. If you want me to take care of you, I have no problem with that. You are my girlfriend. I will feed you, I will clothe you, and I will put a roof over your head. But when it comes to money, I am not sending any money to your family." I didn't know what to say, so I said to him, "I would like to get a job." And he said, "Doing what? What are you going to do?" "Nothing. You have no degree. You know absolutely nothing." I told him that I want to study to become a lawyer. I had my books. I showed him my books. He saw me studying all the time. I practically memorized the books from the front to the back. I knew the books. I knew that I could be a lawyer. And he told me, save my breath. He told me that I was worthless and all I was just good for one thing. I started to believe it. I started to believe that this was what my life was going to be. And then I think I lost my mind that time. I think I lost my mind thinking that that was it. When I took his life, it was just in a matter of moments. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't realize what I was doing. I was just filled with hate, with anger, resentment. I couldn't understand why a man would only want me for one thing and not see me advance so I could help the both of us and help 4 other human lives. I couldn't understand why he did not understand the importance of what was going on in my country. I poisoned him. I felt good doing it. And as he was choking, I just watched him. Something released from me. Something felt so good, alive. I felt like, yes, this is living. I was no longer numb. It brought me joy to see him fall on the ground and take his last breath. And when he did, I didn't know what to do with him. I made something to eat. I went into the bedroom, turned on the TV, and watched Netflix. I did that for 2 days, checking on him every now and again to make sure he didn't somehow come back to life. But because the Dominican Republic is very hot, the body started to stink badly. He was rottening from the inside out. I didn't know what to do. So I called the 2 girls that helped me, the 2 Dominican girls. And I asked them to come over. And they came over immediately. And I showed them the body. They ran back out of the apartment. They were holding their noses. They couldn't believe the smell or the sight. And they told me that we need to call the police. We had no choice. I called the police with the girls and I waited. The girls said to me, "You have to say that he beat you. You have to say that he was hurting you and he was holding you here against your will. You have to say that he took you and he would never let you leave." And some of that was true. He wouldn't let me leave. He wouldn't let me find a job. He wouldn't even let me do shopping without him. I was in the house for months with him, 24/7. So I told the police this. And of course, the woman jail was not very attractive, but it was an experience. After being in there for 6 months, I was able to go back onto the streets. I'm still in the Dominican Republic. I think my mind is still gone. I have nothing. I have no one. And I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me for the first part of Diary of a Working Girl. This will be a series every Saturday, so I hope you join me. Become a member for more explicit stories that will be coming out in the future. And also, I just want to remind you that this video was brought to you by Toma This. Toma This is an online store that searches the world for cool products in regards to things that you may need, whether it's luxury, jewelry, automotive, eco-friendly, health products, beauty products, or more. They will have it for you. And if they don't, you can contact them so you can see if they can get the product for you at a comparable price. These beautiful charms and necklace are more than just pretty. They actually have a very important representation. The evil eye has been used throughout centuries to ward off curses or malicious intent. Many believe the evil eye could protect against 3 different kinds of evil: unintentional, intentional, and unseen. These curses manifest in these such as jealousy, someone wishing you bad luck, or negativity surrounding you. To order yours today through a safe and easy process, please contact tomathis@gmail.com. There's other products available as well. Just ask for a catalog of products that are available at this moment and you will get a discount. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Cerise, and I look forward to talking to you next Saturday about Diary of a Working Girl. But don't forget to check down below because I upload videos every day. Thank you for subscribing.